Hey guys, welcome to the woods. Well, I was going to sit facing this way. Where's the best view? Like that. See that valley down there? Everything's sort of died back mostly and see through all the trees. So it's a whole different landscape. And the mountaintops are a little different and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, sitting on this log, that's what made me say, I'm sitting down, maybe I should do a quick video. A lot of good things going through my mind. It's a nice meditative afternoon. But anyway, I sat sitting next to this thing. It's like a face in there in some ways and a whole bunch of other things. But to give you a better perspective, there's other stuff going on up top. So, they say when a tree falls over the first time, when the tree falls over, it's half its life. And this is what we don't let happen around nature so much. We like to, if it's anywhere close to anyone's house, this gets all hacked down. And then there's no place for the squirrels. And there's like, these things are like chock full of nutrients for the planet. AKA, they just turn into microorganisms and they chew everything up and they reprocess all the minerals and all that beautiful stuff. The reason we say organic, it's like organic just means just leave things alone. And that sense of leave things alone, expressed out there into nature, into life, can only come from your own interpersonal sense of leave things alone. And then people would say, I'm not fussing with myself. I'm leaving things alone. I'm good with all that. I'm happy. Things are working out for me. Sorry, I got a text in. Technology. As if they didn't know I was making a video. But anyway, it's a killer if I get a phone call in, so texts are better. Because it cuts the film, and then I'd have to start back over and piece two pieces together. And I don't edit anything, so I just sit down and share meditative thought. But I'm really doing this all throughout the day. So this is just time when I'm sort of sharing something about it and trying to inspire people to take a step. And here's where I want to talk about that point. Inspiring people, you could take that at face value and be like, I've got something that's really fun or really great and I want other people to do it. And you could just say, that's all that I've got. I just got something that I just feel like I just would like other people to do it. But I would say it's much bigger and deeper than that. And that kind of applies to what I'm saying here about letting trees just lay and letting the forest be and letting life just be, And the whole process, the circle of life and decay and what the purpose of this tree decaying in this side of this hill means to the ecology of this area. If you need those kind of scientific answers to things, then, I'm just wasting my breath. But if you realize that our, as humans, ability to sort of live within the confines of how nature wants to run itself, and we just learn how to get into synchronicity with what's already going on in nature, and watch its magic and pick pieces out and utilize its magic, but just try to disturb and touch and mess with as little as possible. Now, that seems sort of naive and simplistic and whatever else, but the point is this. I see a lot of people. Well, no, let me back that up. So this point about seeing and being okay with what is in your personal surroundings, nature, and being okay with what is inside of yourself, your sense of self, your self-worth. If you're okay with all that, then you'll be okay with all this and you'll be in synchronicity. So how do I nudge you to say, I want you to work on some program? You create the program, because no one can tell you how to work on you feeling more in resonance with everything around you and accepting of what is. This lesson I'm saying about this, decay and letting things sit in the woods. And if you go around to the parks, you'll see if you're within, walking distance of a car, they cut the tree up and make it disappear to get rid of the whole root ball. Not the root ball, they cut it really low. But anyway, no remembrance of an old tree. So my point with us as humans is, if you're not in tune and sync with your inner dialogue, you're not going to be in tune and in sync with the rest of the planet. So the planet is mostly run by people who are not tuned in, tapped in, turned on, are not taking the time to be sensitive to that subtle stop sign that says you feel frustrated about something. And that should just be a subtle little, like, guy holds his hand up, hey, seem a little worried. When you feel worried, that's a big stop sign. That's a big flag. That's a traffic light. That's a cop car's crossed in front of the street. When you're feeling funky about something, worrying about something, or wanting something just to be different, like, why is this way? How did this end up being this problem that I see in my peripherals? I see a problem, and this is what I see. And I want to see why, because I want it to go away. If that's your go-to method in life, then that's called blasting through the guy who said, you seem a little agitated, go within, love on yourself. It's self-acceptance, it's self-love that regulates whether you're going to love what's coming at you or not. And once you've really learned how to love yourself and accept what is in your present moment, present condition, present everything, and get conscious of your breath and the sense of self-love and the sense of self-worth, and feel it. Once you've mastered that, don't do anything until you have. But every time you get a little taste of it, once a month, it's going to be life-changing. So it's just a matter of, you'll get there, just a matter of sticking to some type of program. So if you find yourself getting agitated by anything and not being able to rein it in yourself, and someone outside of you is ever consoling you, you've got a problem. And you need to get on a program. I think the Abraham Hicks stuff, if you did nothing else and you listened to her 2-3 times a day, you'd be a month before you'd get a rerun. And you'd be a lot better off than we are now. My message has got to be helpful. Either this is judgment to you, or it's a helpful tool and a nudge in the direction you're already going. Because you feel worthy of that sense of inner peace where there's nothing going wrong and everything always works out for you. Because you can't find where things are really working out for you, where the way it is the preferred, is the better, not just tolerable, not like, I've learned to turn it off and ignore it. No, I accepted first that there's perfection around me and that I don't need to be fussing with anything. And if something's bothering me, I back up and say, it's okay. It's okay, come on in. It's like holding a door closed when something's trying to come in. That's going to waste all your energy and make you a really frustrated person. Let the door open. And just let what be. What are you afraid of? It's like, the ultimate fear of dying. Well, guess what? It's coming. Why not deal with it now? So many people are just like, well, when the virus is all gone, everything will be all good. How? I mean, if you think that dying of flu-like symptoms is the most horrible thing you could possibly imagine, and denying that, or just holding all hope out, hold my breath while I wait for this vaccine that hopefully doesn't bother me, because a lot of people have problems with that, So it's like people have problems with life. Life does not end well for anyone, especially though, if you haven't worked on this paradigm of loving yourself and feeling the respect and the acceptance of the moment, of what is experiencing in your life, whatever's coming your way. Find where it's beautiful and perfect and enjoy it. I tell you, once you get used to doing it a little bit, you find, wow, things are going a little too fast as it is. I want to really experience every moment, and every moment is something new and different and rich. I don't want them to be the same. AKA, I don't want it to all seem perfect. Because you can find perfection once you've gotten out of the light. It might not bother you guys, but it's right in bounce right off my camera into my eyeball. Still getting me. All right, well, I'm close to done here anyway. But it's just a sense of, we got to get that fixed. Okay, there we go. Just a sense of caring about the mental well-being of people I see every day. There is definitely an endless journey towards acceptance of what is and appreciation of yourself and feeling worthy. And, there's all kinds of other little subtle things about learning, that if you're blaming someone for something in your life, in your past, whatever, then you're definitely way deep on the wrong track, including God, Jesus, whatever church you've hated for a while, whatever the situation is, wherever you are, if you've got somebody in the past who has wronged you, then everything's going to be an irritation to you. And this is going to sound like a judgment. There is no one's being wronged. You're just getting feedback on where you are emotionally, where you are in your sense of self, in your tuned in, tapped in, turned on sense that you were when you were a child. And fear and sense of lack that was taught to us often clams us up. And then we don't want to feel anything. But then you get older and you realize that that's not really working. And you want to feel everything. You want to go deep into the moment. When something feels funky, it's like, oh, interesting. I found something that sort of gave me a little irritation, something to meditate about, to love on, to go in and what's going on in here? Hey, what's going on in this funky section that I would normally turn away from? And it doesn't mean you're doing a whole bunch. You're just allowing whatever's of interest to you. Do 100% of what's of interest to you, and 99% leave it alone. So my basic leaning, as I always like to say, would be to lean to the side of doing less, for sure. And the one thing that really sparks you, that's your real gift to the planet, will emerge out of you when you stop blocking the world. It's taking all your energy, blocking what is, by finding something to your distaste. And, from there, it just keeps building and just keeps building. There's no judgment in that. Because we're all just keep building. We all just keep growing. It's just not, not what? I don't know. It's 12 minutes. I think it's probably pretty clear on the things I was just saying. But there's so much more to say around this same concept of it's all about taking time to love yourself and love what experience. You could call it gratitude and all those types of things. But really, you're just trying to love whatever you're in. Love the one you're with, right? It's not necessarily a person. It's with whatever experience is coming your way. Now you can choose, say this doesn't feel good and this is really enticing, but until you're present in the moment, you can't really decipher with any honesty what doesn't feel good and what's drawing you, because the focusing on what's going wrong part and what doesn't feel good is so strong. You got to let some of that go. You got to be less about what I want to fix out there in the world, and what I see wrong, and what I'm interpreting as wrong, because then you're in a funky vibration. So when everything feels good, and everything feels like it is working out, that rare moment, it happens with all of us, of course. So when that happens, that's what we want to keep focusing on. That's what we want to have to be 100%. That's what we want to milk it for every little bit we can get. So when you're feeling all juiced up and connected and everything's working out for you, then you think about some of your idiosyncrasies of your childhood, or how you were treated by your parents, or how you felt victimized one time by someone. And in that frame of mind, your dialogue about it would be much different than when I hear from people normally. It would be not just this is something that made me stronger. This is who I was that attracted that. It's not like, oh, this came at me and I'm better off for it and I've grown from it. No, that's you've survived it. Surviving it is a lot different than learning from it. What was in your vibration that brought that through? Not anything bad, that's for sure. It's just that's what you wanted to fuss with. That's how you knew that's what you didn't want. That's the whole point of being on planet Earth. It's contrast. We're in the environment of matching vibrations and contrast. That's why we're all between us. We have political parties and everything else. It's just contrast everywhere, right? And there's a million things to worry about if you want to worry about them, And I'm not going to recite them, because people who are triggered by them would be like, I just feel funky tonight, honey. I don't know why. I just don't feel good about things. It's like, oh, well, you pulled in a negative vibration when I mentioned about things we should be watching out for. But there's no things to be watching out for, but we're never going to make it developing this planet as a human species if we don't get in touch with who we really are and get a sense of our emotions are driving the experience out there. And your inner fear causes us to be harsh on our environment. We can only be as harsh on our environment as we're being for so long. And this is not like a tree hugger, let's all just be good to the environment, because that's an end product of a good internal mindset. And it's going to be a long time working on your internal mindset before you should go out and be dictating how the planet should be. Well, I guess I take that back. Just in your little world, whatever you do, love what you're doing. You be loving in your little garden of your house, in your little world of, if you're in charge of FDA, then maybe you've got more soul searching to do. But that's not a judgment on anybody. It's just, what's your brightest version of your love bomb that you want to throw on the planet and the people around you? It doesn't come as one big huge bomb anyway. It's a lot of little hand grenades, and you build them as you go, because you just build love for yourself, and it pops out these little love bombs, and you throw them on other people. And some people, it really irritates the hell out of them, because they're like, I was fine pretending everything was fine, and I didn't need to work on my sense of self. And you're like, you weren't fine being fine, not knowing who you were. You were not. You were suffering. But you've been suffering for so long. It's such a common thing that you feel like, well, I got a chemical imbalance and I need to be medicated. That, that's never been proven. There is no chemical. The chemicals come after the vibration of energy, long after, either way. So it's always the energy. The energy is what fixes everything. Can you play with the energy? Yes. Can you get sensitive to it first, though? You got to get sensitive to it first. That takes discipline. It takes time. And patience. And follow your breath numerous times throughout the day. But after a while, your breath stays. You just check it once in a while. That's all you're doing. It's just checking it once in a while. Make sure it stays where it's supposed to be. But you know already, because you know when your mind's feeling like something ought to be different than what it is, then I stop. I don't go chase it and try to make it different. That's the part of letting something go, putting something down, doing less with your life. Create a pocket in your day by not listening to the news or to gossip or to really just, gossip's such a funny word. What does that even mean? That's so like down the pipe, right, of problems, if you're worrying about whether you gossip or not. But anyway, is just that sense that everything is working out for you. If it doesn't feel like it's working out for you, then you need to sit down and change your thinking about it. Don't go out and try to change. If your spouse is driving you crazy, go within and love yourself. When you come out with so much love for yourself that it's dripping off in little hand grenades at other people around you, you'll start bringing the love in out of other people. And all of a sudden, that person who you loved at one point in your life, of course, now seems like a new discovered toy. It's like, that's just, it's that simple, but that's just one thing. It's everything. People who don't get in touch with who they are and let fear run their life, you see them right everywhere, that they're struggling. They don't do well in relationships. They don't do well in their job. They don't do well financially. They don't do well in physical health. They don't do well in being a contributor to anyone around them. Right? Don't be that guy. There you go. Let's throw all the judgment we can on this thing, because you're not in that judgment state, right? It's just a calling. We're all getting some, we can say it to each other, because if I can't defend is totally the wrong word, but if I can't express my inner love on demand for anyone at any time, then there's something amok. So call me out on whether I'm in love with myself and how I feel perfect about everything that's happening around me. It's, I'm looking for them in my own head, so I really am open to that idea. But anyway, we're not looking for that. All right, so go within, love on yourself, 19 minutes. At least I kept it under 20. Sorry, that was a long one, but I missed a few days. It takes me a little time to kind of get my gears going again. All right, love you, out.